Hello everybody, how's that for production value? Oh my God, insane. Yes, I have a green screen. So I'm painting in front of one of my paintings. It's insane. It's like so meta and freaking blows my freaking mind. It's insane. Thank you very much for being here today. Who have we got? Who is here? Say hello, make yourself known, all of that stuff. That'd be tops. I'd like to know who I'm talking to and who's painting along, who's just having a watch, all that kind of stuff. Be great. Blew out your hearing aids, the music or my dulcet speaking voice, Dana? The dulcet tones. Hello Vic, how you going? Whereabouts are you, Dana? Ah, yeah. I tried to keep the volume on that down, but it seems to have done a bit of a doozy. How does the green screen look, everyone? Does it look like green screen or it's a bit strange, isn't it? It's cool. Hello Roberto, how are you, mate? Good to see you there. Emma, how are you? Good stuff. It's what I like to see because if from England. There you go. G'day Emma, how are you? Good to see you there. Nice to see you. And there's two Emmas. There you go. You are from England. G'day Dave. Looks pretty good. It's look, I'll turn the picture off and show you what it looks like without it. Watch this. It's a green screen. It's behind me. It's a physical screen that it pops up. So you can do all sorts. See, watch this. Watch this. I'm in a castle. Ooh, spooky. Or I'm in a tunnel. It's blowing my freaking mind. Look at that. Isn't that just the best thing in the world? That's not, but you know, it's pretty cool. Ah, that's better. Have a painting. I don't know. I'm just mucking around with it. I'll see how we go. It should be a bit of fun. Today we speak of reflections. Reflections are one of those things in watercolor, especially, is that you can take a few different ways. Nice and soft or nice and crisp. Sometimes a mixture of the two is good. We're going to do one of each today, a sort of a soft one and some nice and crisp ones with the boats. So the soft one I'm going to do in the street scene. We'll have a look at that street scene first. There we go. Let's just, yeah, we can have a look at that. There we go. So, g'day Melody, how you going? Thank you. Oh, you just strap yourself in, Melody. It's going to be the most amazing thing you've ever seen. It'll be Oscar worthy with all these special effects and everything. Excuse me, and the good acting. Now these soft reflections, you kind of get sort of 2-for-1 reflections here. You get a bit of shadowing, obviously, on the road, which leads into the reflection. So kind of it's wet shadows, so they kind of look, you know, you can almost say they're reflecting a little bit. I guess, yeah, that's fine. But we're going to just do we're looking forward to just doing a nice simple scene with a puddle, basically, a puddle that we can have a look at and check out and see if we can make it interesting, which I think we should be able to. We'll just get rid of that for a second. There we go. And with the second piece we'll do, good old Constitution Dock here in Hobart. Yeah, it's fairly obvious. There's lots of reflections, lots of sharp reflections, but in amongst that sharpness, there's a lot of softness as well. Like if you look at the reflections of the hulls of the boat, some sort of the wider bits have some softness in them. So it's going to be an exercise in mostly sharp reflections and brushwork, but also just keeping it nice and fresh. It's one of the things you can go wrong with reflections is doing too much and overworking it. Guilty 9 times out of 10. Well, not 9 times out of 10, but I have done it a lot, and it's easy to overwork. It really is. So here we go. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to start painting, and I'm just going to show you a bit of brushwork and a few different approaches you can take to these. So if anyone's got any questions or anything like that, please whack them in the notes, because I'm keen to help you guys out. This is, after all, a workshop. Treat it as such. Treat it as such. I'm your teacher. You use me and abuse me. I like it like that. No, I'm just joking. But no, you can, yeah, pretend you're at a real workshop, physical workshop, and just go for it. Yeah, let's have a look. Okay. Bit of white paper there, obviously. It's quite blown out by the look of it. That's okay, though. Just open it on a palette, just so I can check the colours out. So the white balance is a bit off in this camera, so give me 2 seconds. just want to look at that. Balance. Sometimes it might make it even worse, I don't know. We just have to look. It's number 2 stream. We need, actually we'll just check this one again. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I'll just check that one. That's our first one we had set up. Yeah, that's not too bad there. That's good. I just want to make it look as good as we can. It's a bit cool, but that's all right. So a few things I want to show you with this here, and it is just a few different ways we can handle reflections. The principles of a reflection in painting. Look, remember this, we are painting here. We're not trying to duplicate something, and we're not trying to be hyper realistic, or at least I'm not. It's my way of working. In reality, if you go and look at reflections and look closely, it's always a good exercise to do. Look closely, there are so many aspects to it. There's reflected light, light bouncing off other objects, and there's all sorts of things that can pull you up and be really, really intimidating if you try to, if you have it in your head to try and replicate it all. The biggest thing that I have found is that it needs to have horizontals and they need to have verticals. If they've got both of those things in a reflection, it'll be successful. And a vertical doesn't necessarily have to be completely straight up and down. Like in the case of the street scene with the puddle, some of those little vertical scents can be achieved by the branches and things coming in from the reflection itself. So it's all good. It's cool. Let's have a squiz at just a couple of different examples. Let's go. Actually, we'll just use that bit there for something. I'll show you in a sec. And let's do simple boat. Okay. We'll reflect something there. That's a very bad boat by the look of it. It's going to sink for sure. Bloody oath. So, soft. All right, well, let's do 2 boats. Soft, sharp, and we'll do some couple little brush strokes here. Soft and sharp, to give you an idea of a few little tricks you can do. Carol, how's it going? I know a Carol in South Australia. Have we met before? My brain doesn't help me in that case. All right. So I'm just going to take, this is just those principles of up and down, vertical and horizontal that I was talking about. So if we say we've got something here, let's say we've got some buildings or whatever. All right, there's a building. There's a whole row of buildings there. Say it's a city skyline. Okay, it's all fine. Now, what we kind of need to have in reflections, now generally speaking, this is an absolute generalization as most things in painting are, but a rule to live by in general is the reflections must usually a little bit darker than the thing that they're reflecting. So vertical strokes, and that's just an effect on the I've got the autofocus on, haven't I? Sorry about this. Give me 2 seconds. It'll annoy the shit out of you if I don't fix it, so it won't be a moment. God dang it. I bloody knew I'd forget something. Da 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 da. Do 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 do. No autofocus. There we go. Carol is a legend. Try to paint along. Now this is just a little exercise. You can do this on a bit of dodgy paper if you want, or you can just watch. I'd probably even encourage you just to watch this particular moment. So yeah, it shouldn't keep going in and out of focus now for us. So, you know, a couple of little things like that with reflections is good. Now, as it dries off a little bit, we can just do a few little horizontals there, the verticals, a few little horizontals there, and it all of a sudden it lifts things up. It makes things look like a reflection, which is handy considering that's what we're going for. Now, what we'll do, here's a nice little, let's just make something up here. We're all making it up. Look at this. Here we go. So, soft. Let's do that same buildings again. They're good, aren't they? They're bloody beautiful buildings. If you take nothing else away from this little demonstration today, is that you'll know that buildings can be this freaking pretty with bugger all effort. So softness. You might have seen me do this a few times in different demos and whatnot, different paintings. But I like to build up, when it's softness, you kind of got to have something to kickstart the process. And I sort of mix up a little bit of stronger stuff and a bit thicker and just place it at the base of what you're going to reflect. Yeah, it's just something like that. So there's a bit of paint sitting there. A bit more, maybe. A bit more. And we can just... And then what you do is you can get another brush with just a bit of water in it, or you can have coloured water, that's fine. Just a wash, but water generally. And you just start bringing it down. And you sort of touch it here and there. It's good, and these nice soft reflections start to happen before our very eyes. And while it's wet, you just come down in to the little more obvious bits, and it starts doing a job for you. All of a sudden, it can start looking like an actual reflection. Now, sharpness, in the same way, we're running out of room here, so we'll make these buildings a little bit more squat, or a bit further back anyway. Sharpness is all about economy of brushstrokes. So I'm just going to make that colour a bit different just to differentiate it a little. And the colour kind of needs to be a bit sort of milky consistency, I suppose. That's probably a good way to look at it for these sort of things. You want it to be transparent, absolutely, but you don't want it to be so weak that you have to rework it. So make sure the consistency of your paint's all right. Now, with sharp reflections, nice pointy brush, horizontal for sure. So you can go down in there. As it comes down, you can, just start doing some things. And don't be tempted to do too much. Too many brush strokes ruins things. It'll ruin your day, I promise. But as it comes down closer towards you, they get a little bit more, a little bit less defined and bunchy. You can bunch things up closer to it. And I always like to make sure there's some kind of vertical going through that, because if you have a look, vertical here, this bit of water that's dripped down from the painting up above, that's beautiful. If that was a good painting, I would leave that. But just as simple as dropping a little bit of water here and there, and and that tells a story of a reflection. So that's good. Happy there. Happy there, happy there. Does it make sense to everybody? Does it look okay? Does it all sound okay? I just want to make sure that everyone's happy, because it's my job not only to teach you stuff, but I want you to be happy. I really do. I don't want any miserable people. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm just getting a bit sick. I'll try to keep the coughing to a minimum, but sort of out of my control at the moment. All right, so I'm going to paint this beautiful boat a murky, bit brown, whatever's there left over. It's beautiful, I tell you. It's the best freaking boat you've ever seen. It's the best. Look at that. Yeah, we put something darker generally down the bottom. Whoop-de-doo-dah. There we go. And you can adorn your boat whichever way you want to. But the point of this is a reflection, so it's a very, very simple boat. Okay. Let's mix up a colour. Here we go. And we're doing soft. So I want to get a bit of colour at the base of the boat and build that up. This is why you've got to work a bit quickly in watercolour, always, because it lends itself to it. You can't work slowly. You can. I mean, and it all comes with practice. No, duh, I know that, but it's more about just knowing that your brushwork's got to be quick and confident, and the only way you can do that is you kind of fake it till you make it. You just work quickly, and your looseness comes, and away you go. My next video on YouTube, my next actual proper video is going to be all about loosening up and painting with purpose. So, soft reflection. Here we go. We mix up a colour that's a nice reflection colour, and we go whoop-de-doo-dah. And what we can do, that's all a bit sort of soft there, or a bit sort of crisp, because it was all quite wet there. But a bit thicker paint just on the base is good. And we can also just do that kind of thing and water it up. Yeah, water, nice soft reflection. See how they're nice and soft in there? Nice and soft. Here we go. Do the same thing with the sharp one. Here we go. Just colour it in. Colour the boat in. It's a beautiful boat. Best looking boat you've ever seen. Whatever. So we still go into the base with a darker kind of vibe, and I'll just darken that up while I've got that there. Base, darker, good. Now a similar kind of wash, but our brush strokes and our approach is different, like we're doing before. It's a bit more sharper, obviously. And with a lot of these sort of things, you've got washes underneath that shine through and do all that. So a lot of good things. Now, a lot of reflections can go in all sorts of directions. Oh, that rhymed. I might be a rapper. No. Bloody Mars bar rapper. All right, let's have a look. Okay, so that's just that sharpness. See the reflections, just all brush strokes. That same washy consistency with the reflections, but it's just that brushwork. Keep your brush strokes horizontal, I think, unless you're doing a deliberate sort of circular reflection or anything like that. There's general rule, here's where we're talking, general rule. We keep things nice and vertical. Nice and horizontal, I'm sorry. Okay, one last thing I want to do, and now it's drying off a little bit, just a bit of water, you can, start just getting a couple of little verticals, horizontals on there as well. And look, you've got little bits of vertical stuff coming down. It's good. All right, this just I just want to show you something quickly, and then we'll get cracking on an actual painting. Just want to dry that a bit, that's all. Sorry about the noise. Can you help it? All right, got to remember too is that you got to always keep your brush strokes nice and confident. I just realised when I reloaded my palette, I've forgotten to put turquoise in. That will have to be rectified. So you go through this and you go, okay, put these little brush strokes and things through. Be nice and quick. Oh, there we go. Okay, might be 2 seconds. All right. I just got a new iPhone 12. Has anyone else got one yet? It's pretty cool, I must say. Okie doke. Here we go. Now, let's have a look. What do you reckon of it, Joe? But yeah, just vary your brushwork. 2 seconds. Sorry, excuse my arms. Just bringing the reference photo up for myself. There it is. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, it's really good camera. I got just the 12, like the normal one. Camera's great. It's fantastic. Love it. Okay, so I just want to show you something here. We'll go back to good old green screen mode. Just want to have a look at this painting, this scene. Sorry, not that one, this one. We'll do this one first. So, the things we need to watch out for. Obviously, we're doing this in portrait orientation, so if you are painting along, whack that together, you'll be fine. We need to sort of squash it up a little bit, kind of narrow the field in the whole composition. But I like that angle, that perspective of looking up. G'day, Meg. Good stuff. glad you found us. Good, excellent. We haven't painted the picture yet, so we're just starting on it now. I've just done a little bit of an exercise, but you can always watch that back later on. It's no problem. So yeah, we're going to keep that same angle, same sort of drawing, very similar. I may put a little car in the middle of it at the end, just little, not much. And I'll just really keep everything else quite soft and subdued. And then that way, if everything else is sort of soft and subdued and the reflection's quite sharp and nice, it's good. Like it makes it all work. When I say sharp, I don't mean sharp like we just did with the boat reflections, just a bit more defined as opposed to stuff at the outside, so it's a bit more photographic. And this is a good tip for your artworks and your references and things. Keep an eye out for TV shows, and some of the photography in TV shows is amazing, especially these days. If you find something, screenshot it and paint it. It's cool. It's good. I can't remember. This is from something. I can't remember what it's from though. But no, it's a good thing. So I'll just make this smaller, and we'll try and keep it on the page. There we go. That's fine. That's fine. You don't need to see the water tub. Call me Tubbs. And yeah, we should be right. Excuse me. I have to rectify the turquoise situation. Where are my paints? It's a bit silly of me, wasn't it? I can't do without that. That would just be crazy. Cobalt turquoise. Boop, boop, doop. There we go. That'll do. All right. Drawing, eh? Here we go. Sorry about the creaky floor. Always say it. Always have to. It's creaky floor. Get over it. You'll be right. I think I'm talking to myself there. Really. Now, yeah. That's right. That's right at the bottom, so you can still see it. Good. Good, good, good. Let's have a look, Millie. I'll just have a look at that. Of course, no problem, Millie. Easy. Okay. Firstly, probably the second question first would be best. I just kind of lay it out like this. It's this palette I've had for about probably 6 months or so. And I was still mucking around with layouts. I've been used to using sort of long ones before, which is fine. So I'm getting used to the layout a bit. Generally speaking, warm to cool, but at this time, I just don't have a rhyme or reason for it. I've just gotten used to where they are, and that's, I think, the best way to do it. I think generally warm to cool, just bunch them all together. As long as you know where they are without really thinking about it, that's the go. Hey Julian, is this sort of John Erickson, the spooky workshop? No, it's great. I should say thank you so much, mate. I appreciate that. I appreciate it a lot. So the colours I will go through. Neutral tint. They're all mixture of Schminky and Daniel Smith. Ah, there you go. Cool. Good stuff. I assumed to be something like that. Excellent. So I'll tell you what the brand is as well. So Schminky Neutral Tint, Daniel Smith Burnt Sienna, Daniel Smith Raw Sienna. That is Schminky Turner's Yellow, which is like a chrome yellow. Schminky Transparent Orange, Schminky Bordeaux, Schminky Scarlet Red, Schminky Ultramarine Finest, Schminky Cobalt Blue, Daniel Smith Manganese Blue. These are, now here's where they get a bit odd body. So that is Daniel Smith French Ochre. That one is Daniel Smith Luna Red Rock. That one is Schminky Brilliant Blue Violet. That one is something red. Daniel Smith. Let me have a look. I'll find it. Luna Red Rock. I think it's this one. Luna Red Rock. English Red Ochre. That one is. And Cobalt Turquoise Schminky and Holbein Lavender. That's sort of the funny one that I use a lot. I'm just sort of experimenting with colours at the moment. Brands wise, pick something good if you can, whatever you can afford. But all I will say is artist quality paints are definitely more expensive, but they're more highly concentrated, so you don't use as much of them. So it's kind of a false economy going nuts on the student stuff. But if you're an absolute beginner and you're just churning through painting after painting, getting it done, go for it. Student paints. I think the best student paints are the Winsor and Newton Cotman stuff. But anywho, we digress. Let's have a look. So I hope that helps. The layout of the palette's an entirely personal thing, really, but this is just a bit of a hodgepodge that I haven't really gotten used to yet. So I'm in experimentation mode at the moment. So I hope that answers it a little bit. So usual stuff, we need to find our horizon line. It's pretty high up. Probably, I want to go drop it a little bit there. Out there somewhere. That'll do. Some trees. Let's just get that road in. That rough road surface. Down there. And about there. And there's a couple of houses here which are above the horizon line, so they'll give us some nice straight lines to work with as well. We're not worried about big details or anything. They're just going to give us an impression that there's something going on there. That's all. Okay, whatever. Cut the garbage bins. It's fine too. Now, the main tree, I'm just going to draw in the main trees, that's all. Main tree comes up all the way out there. I'm working on this Baohong rough paper. Yeah, I don't know if you've watched my review on the Baohong paper on YouTube. If you haven't, have a look at it because it's pretty cool. And the editing and my sparkling repartee is incredibly hilarious. And I hope you all got some of the jokes. If you watch closely, there are visual jokes there. Not just my face. That's enough of a visual joke for most people. Okay. So yeah, right. I'm just going to draw the main trees. That's sort of where I want them. It's quite symmetrical, but it won't be by the time everything else goes in. This being heavier on this side is quite important. So we just do a rough line. I'm not following. You couldn't possibly draw that out exactly as it is, you know. So I'm just putting a couple of little shapes in. There's a bit that'll go down the middle. Yeah, that's about it. That's all I'm going to draw. So no more drawing there. It's quite a simple drawing, and you should always try and make your drawings pretty simple. The less info you've got in your drawing, the more you can let the paint. The paint lets its own freak flag fly, if you know what I mean. Okay, let's paint. Let's paint some stuff. So softness and in the distance, and I'm going to exaggerate that softness, and I'm going to get quite dark and heavy as we come closer to us. Hey Michael, how you going, mate? Good to see you there. How's California? Still locked down, mate, I assume? Starting with a bit of water up here. I guess it's tinted a little bit from the exercise we did before. Okay. Yeah, I'm just using the greys and things. It was a purpley grey that we used previously. So that's good. But I'm just getting it in, letting it go. Just get in there as quick as you can. And as it comes down, it's pretty much just white paper. I just want to get it damp so I can take advantage of that in a second. And just a little bit of blue, just to give us something else going on in the sky. Okay. It's no good, mate. No good. So while I've got this here, I'm going to go into the road surface. Now this will shine through a little bit at the end, but it's quite warm, the road surface itself. So I'm just putting, I've got some leftover orangeness, warmth of some sort there. I'm just sort of getting that roughly in, and I'll subdue it a lot. I'll water it down a lot so that it dries off a lot lighter, but just a little bit there. And this stuff here is just all, it's just underneath stuff for the grass and all that sort of thing. As I've got a bit of warmth in there, a bit of sort of earthy colours. I'm just going to go in with just a bit of that turquoise. Just add it in, let it mix on the page, and it just gives us a green without it being a horrible green, you know. But you still want it light in value because you want these shadows later on to really kick us, you know. Here's a really important part of this piece. This reflection's sort of the star of the show. So we need to keep it dry. We need to keep it completely white so that we can get maximum impact out of that later on. So I'm just sort of moving in a little bit of the outline that I've sort of painted, but I'm not too slavish to it. But I just want to make sure all this bit's kept completely dry. That's all fine. Now, that's cool. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, so kids have been playing with shit and I've lost my brush. Where is it? I've lost my skippy brush. It's no good. No, really, I've lost it. Where is it? Oh, I'm sure it'll turn up on the bloody floor somewhere. Oh, that's all right. We can use this one. Okay, so while it's all still wet, I'm going back in there with a slightly thicker mixture of stuff. So it's a bit of raw sienna-y type colour, but I want it mainly quite cool. So I'm putting a bit of that manganese blue in, sort of a dirty green looking colour. Yeah, that looks all right. And I'm just starting to move things around. And I'm not following where the trees are and all that. Life's too short. Get over that shit quick, smart. Okay. But I do want to just make sure that there are some nice soft moments in the distance. That's all fine. You don't want to define it too much. You just need to let it run its course. I'm gonna cool that down even more. Strengthen it up a tiny bit. Ooh. It's a bit purple, but that's all right. So once it goes over the top of this, it'll be fine. just going to give it a tiny bit of a spritz, and I'm just going to start putting in a few of these little distant trees and things. It's all just stuff from the background. I'm not worrying too much about where things are going and stuff. It's because it's not a painting about trees. Trees are an element of it, but as long as it gives us the illusion of some trees, that's all we're doing. We are always painting illusions. Nothing more, nothing less. I know that sounds a bit trite and a bit flippant, but it's true. Okay. So grab tissue. Open a new packet. Bloody hell. I thought I was really organised this morning, but turns out not the case. So, Michael, when you say lockdown, just out of curiosity, is it like a full can't go anywhere unless you have permission, or you like can you go to work? I mean, I'm just trying to ascertain where it's at because we've just had some good stuff. Carol, that's Senior Art Supplies. If you go into my video about the with the review of the paper, I've got a link in the description, so check it out for sure. So just while that's all drying, I just want to take care of this distance as it's all still a bit wet. That's good. Gonna get a little bit thicker paint, a little bit thicker and a little bit darker, a bit of burnt sienna, a little bit of neutral tint, and a tiny bit of ultramarine. I don't want it to be too blue, if you know what I mean, but need it to be a little bit. So thicker paint, so it's not going to spread as far, but I don't mind if it ends up a nice soft edge. Just a couple of thicker marks. There we go, so it's these big trees will go over the top and give it all nice context soon enough. Put that one in. That one can be nice and soft. Now I'm just getting a bit of water on that rigger, and there we go. That's cool. Oh, this floor is annoying. Okay, we're all good. All good. So, dry time. Need to dry it. There's no denying. I always try and do as much as I can before I dry it because Adele, the good old hairdryer, is annoying. Here she is. See how nice and soft that background's looking now? Even though these darker trees might look a bit strong, they're still nice and soft. Like edge-wise, they're soft edges. But when we put these stronger, sharper trees in the sort of middle distance, middle ground. So Alright. Okay, so I'm going to put the houses in. It'll take about 2 seconds and then I'll start on that tree. So the houses are literally just little shapes, like there's nothing really to them. Bit of a grey colour. That's a bit green. There we go, just quite light. Alright, so rooftop, I can go straight over, that's fine. And this is all just illusions, just things to give us that impression of buildings and roofs and stuff. That's all. And then underneath that, I'm just going to add a bit of burnt sienna just to that same colour that I just had and melt it all in there. Back in. Get your brush strokes. See your brush strokes. Bang. Just get them in. Remember, we're telling a story and it's all just got to be pretty direct. And you just don't fuss over it. You know, it's not the major part of the scene. It's just background stuff, really. So the last thing you want to do is overwork it to death, and it just becomes, the whole painting gets thrown off balance because you've got this middle thing that's not really the star of the show, being really detailed and tightly painted, and yeah, it just ends up boring. You throw the balance off of your whole picture, in my humble opinion. But I'm right. Right, cool. Define the edge of that, well, nature strip, I suppose you'd call it. There's that bit of turquoise going in, but I'll put some more earthy colour over the top to settle it down a bit, so it's not so turquoise. But once again, it's all just let things mix on the page. Let it play. It's just having a play. Just reading your comment there, Michael. Candace, your governor, Gavin Newsom. Oof. Heard all sorts about that dude, but I don't know about politics really, especially overseas politics. I probably know more about American politics than I do Australian. I just don't care. I just don't care about politics, eh? I got a mate who every election time in Australia here has a friggin' barbecue and has a party and watch the results. It's weird. Freaks me out. But anyhow, all right. So let's not waste paint. So I'm going into this brown sludgy that we had there, and let's do some trees. So yes, the brown is same tone, bloody blah, won't be for long, don't worry. But it's just underneath thing, put some stuff in, why not? That's all. It's all just underneath. We might do the same with this one if we can. Can you hear Henry playing with trucks and tractors and stuff outside? He's supposed to be at school today, but he's got a bout of conjunctivitis. Poor little fella. All right, so I've used up that. That's good. Now we've got this dark stuff here. Let's get into it. Now I don't mind it while it's all still a bit wet. Some fuzzy edges are good. You don't want the whole thing fuzzy. You want some strength. But if you resist the urge to colour in and you paint instead, you'll get much cooler results. And part of that painting process is little things that happen, things that just happen without us really working at it ourselves. You know, I hate to say the whole happy accident Bob Ross bullshit thing, but it's kind of true in the case of watercolor. You've got to have a certain amount of those little happy accidents. Purple. Purple is always a good neutralizing color. So I don't mind if these end up quite black looking, although they'll be nuanced and have a lot of different elements in them. But I don't mind if there's an element of that darkness to it, because they're forward and they're trees and they're happy little trees. Bob Ross has been replaying here in Australia, and there are shops that even have t-shirts with Bob Ross on it. It's just really disturbing. Psychopath. No, I'm just joking. All right, so just getting the rigor, and just while that dark is still there, I'm going to put a couple of, you know, smaller little strokes. And if you are painting along, remember, I mean, yes, absolutely, try to keep up. I am painting slower than I would if there was no students around. But try and keep up. But don't panic if you don't. And good thing about these being on YouTube is you can just watch it later when you can press the pause button. It's good. It's good like that. Okay, I like those trees. This one on the right looks a little transparent. Might need to fix that up a bit. A bit stronger there. Yeah, it's a bit better. That'll do. That'll do for those. Okay. Now what I reckon we'll do, I reckon we'll start working down. So do the road surface. Actually, I had forgotten my little car. So let's do my little car. Now you watch. There'll be a couple of brush strokes for a little car in the distance here. That there. That there. Oh, it's on a bit of an angle dangle. It's okay. That there. Oh, Henry. Quiet, please. Stupid car. Car didn't work. We'll do it again. Bang, bang. There you go. It says, starting to say car now. That's good. Yeah. That's fine. Happy with that. Nice and impressionistic, and it's distant. And I just want to soften it a tiny bit. There we go. Cool. So when I say car, it's not really. So this line here, I don't want to draw the road edge up there. I want it to sort of fade into bugger all. So just got a bit of colour and just moving it down that kind of way. You know, vary your tones and your thicknesses. No continuous clean straight lines or anything like that. What we can do is I'm just going to paint the road surface with a bit of water. And that can start making one little reflection slash shadow for us. What I want to do here is, because this is warm underneath, with the reflections, we're going to go cool. All right, so now, as I always say, these workshops are completely 100% free to participate in. That will never change now. I'll keep that like that. If you do get something out of them and you want to donate to the pirate ship to keep us afloat, that'd be great. There's a PayPal link and the bank account details in the description. But yeah, no stress if you can't or don't want to, no problem. But yeah, spread the word as well. That'd be tops. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Now, here's where we have to show some restraint, okay? Because this is wet, we want these nice softness. We don't want too much of this stuff, and you'll kill the overall vibe of the shadows. It's all got to be connected into. Just make some funky marks, but just make sure that you leave room. And while I've got that shadow colour, I'm going to come over here. If you have a look at the base of the tree, there's a nice big shadow. Goes along there. That's fine. Just sort of softening that out a bit. So it's starting to sort of come to life a bit, and it's given us a little bit of a curvature on that road, bit of shape, and that's good. When that dries off a bit, we'll put a couple of little directional things in there, which will do it even better for us, do it even more. There's no putting it off now. We have to kind of go into that reflection. So my advice here is to err on the side of subtle with your colouring, because it's this sort of reflection. We want that nice bright light. You don't want to go too heavy here. So about here, I'm going to put a little bit of bluish, a bit of water, a bit of blue something there. That's fine. And in the interest of simplification, I'm definitely not going to be painting branches. I'll do a couple of main ones, but I'm not going to be in there looking for where they are and going, oh shit, it's going to come down about there. I mean, no, that's not the way to approach it. We need to approach it in a loose, painterly kind of manner. Like I was saying before, in that exercise we were doing, I'm just going to start bringing a couple of things down here. And I'll show you all that later, how that can fade off a bit. Just a couple of things there. soften it down. When we put the edges on the puddle, it will come to life. There's a little bit of white there that I want to leave. I want to leave that to be perfectly white. So as you can see here, I'm starting to get those verticals going. They're straight up and downs. If we come over, there's quite a dark area here as well. So just I'm holding the brush. Tip of the brush, just keep it going. Just all that sort of thing. When we start to develop these things, we can't start out too strong with it. We're just starting to get it happening. As you can see already, it's starting to sort of take shape. It's talking reflection. It's a bit bright at the moment, but we'll fix that. Okay, so we need a darker kind of tone. Not too much. Just here and there. There's obviously a fair bit of water going around here, and that's fine. But I like that softness, so it's still sort of bleeding in. That's one thing about watercolor. You've got to let it let it go. You have to. You won't get its intrinsic qualities if you try and control it too much. It just won't work. Won't work out for you. I like that. I like that. That's now I don't want to get too heavy there, but it needs to be a tiny bit more. Tiny bit heavier down here. That's just a little bit of neutral tint. I don't talk too much about specific colors all the time because a lot of the time they are, you know, just stuff that's come off the corner of the palette or whatever, so it's a bit tricky. I sprayed that because I wanted it a bit softer, so I'm just going to put a few little tree marks in. Just it'll talk enough for us down here. That's it, that's keeping up now, that's good. I like that little area there. Red tail lights on the car. Maybe. You know me too well. We'll see how it works out and if it needs it. I reckon, or maybe it's just too far away. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll see. I like this softness here. I like all that. Everything's working pretty well there. So you've always got to keep looking around at things and making sure they're working and making sense. Now I need to get some darks in quick smart before that dries off too much. When I say darks, just a bit of burnt sienna, a little bit of blue, and pretty thick paint, probably creamy consistency. And that's that edge all of a sudden gives it a bit of depth and a bit of volume. But what I really recommend to not do is go around the whole thing. You know, just bits and bobs is all you need. Got to be a little bit subtle. And we are also going to paint the edges that are facing us as well. Just little bits. Like once again, it's all just the an illusion, really, of that little bit of depth. And this stuff over here, I'm just sort of playing with a bit. That's okay. And I'm just looking to see whether I think it needs any reflections here. It may just, a couple of little marks, not much. Yeah, that'll do. Now, what I will do is I'll get a couple of horizontals in, just with water. It's a clean water on the brush, couple of marks. You can't do too much of it. Just that, and that'll tell a better story in a second once we put the dry stuff over the top. But anyhow, we're right. Cool. Okay, so we're almost there, believe it or not. Almost there. See how that vertical with the horizontal makes it speak fairly loudly of reflections, which is good. Now this bit over here is fraught with danger, okay? You mustn't fuss over it. It's just an area of texture, essentially. That's all we want to do is texture here. Let's put some of that there. And we'll grey it down in a second. So I'll just boop-a-dee-boop, boop-a-dee-boop-boop-boop. Bits of texture. We'll get some blues in there as well. And I'll actually paint a big shadow over it as well, so that it stands out a lot. But I don't want to lose all of that really nice light that's underneath everything there. I don't want to lose all of that. Little speckles is good. But there's some shadows. There are some shadows that need taken care of there, which is good. Okay. Just got to make it stand out from that white. There you go. I'm just washing that out a little bit now because it's all funky colours. That's all fine though. Just knocking it back a bit. That's cool. I really like the light up here. I think that's cool. But there's one thing that I've kind of overlooked a little. Whoops. It's fine. Just that little shadow leading up to there. It's cool. And I'll soften it. Nice. Yep. Cool. Splash in some water. I'm going to dry it off now. So here's Adele's latest number 20 single. How's it all going with your paintings? Everything going swimmingly so far? Does anyone have any questions? Don't be silent. Speak up if you need help or you need a question answered. That's what I'm here for. All right, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. I don't know if the big tree on the right is strong enough. I think we might have to darken that a bit. Yeah, I'll do that now, otherwise I'll forget and it'll shit me later on. Strengthen it up a bit. Because it was deliberately fairly, you know, washy and colourful. I like that aspect. It's not just a solid blackness, but it's just wasn't holding up quite enough. One on the left we'll leave just as a bit of a balance, counterbalance sort of thing. But that's fine. Oh, cool. Good. Nah, Meg, it's good. It's that brush mileage. Absolutely right. It's all that brush mileage. There's no secrets. There's no secrets in this game. Saying how you get better at anything in life. Repetition. That's it. There's no secrets to it at all. Unfortunately, wish there was. Okay, so it's time to start pushing things back a little bit, or bringing things forward a little bit. Really, that should be the way I word that. Here, so there's a nice shadow that comes along, sits about there, goes out about here, and it's just bushes and stuff, but I'm just softening that up because it's just something sitting there. This gives us an extra bit of distance there without really having to do too much work for it. That's good. Oh, thanks, Vic. Thank you. It's getting there. Slowly but surely. And I'll do, actually, no, I won't mix up there. Let's go over here. See what we can do just under. That might be a bit strong. It's really good having, I think I've said it before, it's really good having, and you can do it the same either with a camera or if you've got a mirror set up somewhere or a handheld mirror. It's good to check it out once in a while in the mirror because you can, or in another angle, just so you can sort of loosen your eye up a bit and see things from a different perspective. Sort of, your eyes get more fatigued than you think. It's why a lot of, especially watercolorists, who slave over things don't end up with the results because your eyes just go nuts. You know, your eyes just end up too just bleh. So you've got to be quite direct. Okay, just looking at it now. Where are we going with it? Okay, need to get that big shadow in. Yeah, let's do it with this. Doesn't matter. Here we go. So I'm still just going into this same bunch of stuff here, same wells. That way you can pick up all the little rubbish from the background. Got to be quite strong. These shadows on the left are, yeah, they're not weak. Yeah, about there is good. It's good. Just going to join that into that tree. And it actually sort of comes from across with that soft stuff, but I'm going to resist the temptation to take it over there because I want that puddle to shine, if you know what I mean. So I want that white bit to stay there. These are the little things you have to look for when you're painting. You know, start looking at your own work and seeing what it's telling you to do. So, because we've all got our own artistic vision, it's in there. We just forget about it. That's all. So we forget about it because we try and copy absolutely everything that other artists do. And it's a mistake because, you know, not for the copy factor, but just so you start losing sight of your own artistic vision. You know, like pretend you're a kid and say, oh, look what I painted. It's a tractor or whatever. It's your vision of a tractor. It's great. Yeah, these are just little soft bits here that I will It's quite strong. I think I want to make the base of the tree a little bit stronger, that shadow. Just a bit stronger in there. And potentially a bit softer. Because that, I don't mind the hard edge, but I just don't want them all hard. So just by removing the hardness or the crispness off that edge, but leave that one, works. Balance. You want to be like you're on the dole day. You're ringing up the bank to check your balance. Oh, whatever. All right, so we're almost there. Almost. I do just want to mess this bit up a little bit more and put some finishing touches in. So, just with a bit of something, I don't know, blue. Just stuff. Just mess it up a little bit, that's all. And water, why not? Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. Is all still with me, or are you tired already? Got another paint to do yet. We'll have lunch first though. Or we can just keep going straight through. It's up to you. That's weird, Carol. I'll check that out. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. That's crazy. Thank you. And see you Thursday night, definitely. Thank you. All right. Yeah, thanks for that, Carol. I'm not sure what's going on there. I'll have to check it out. Of course. Bloody technology, eh? Okay. So it's looking all right. It's looking all right. Pretty happy with it. But I do need, there's a disconnect. I've got to put this in, definitely, because that's another little directional thing. But to me at the moment, there's a disconnect between the foreground and the middle ground. The foreground and foreground. Middle ground is exactly what I'm talking about. And that's just going to come from a little bit of artistic license. I'll put a telegraph pole somewhere, and it's just something verticals that we can connect. You know, a little couple of whiz bins, bloody fence post. I think there's a couple of them in the picture or something, but something in there to connect it all together. So first thing I'll do, I'll just paint this little bit down here. Can somebody else, if you're sitting there watching, can somebody else just check that PayPal link for me, and just let me know what happens. So with that, I'm just putting a little bit of that earthy colour underneath there. Bit of blue on it, or whatever. It don't matter. It's just a bit of roughness, you know. And it goes straight into a little bit of neutral. Come down here. Keep a bit of that dry brush effect, that broken edges and things. It's always good. And it's too neat. A bit too neat. So what I'll do, kind of what we did before, a little exercise. I'll just bring some water down and get some softness going that way. Yeah, pretty cool. Bit of purple. It's a bit too purple, that one. That's all right. Yeah. Just bring that down there. Ah, okay. So it's not a clickable link, so it's not a clickable link. You're able to click on it; it just doesn't go anywhere. God, how silly. Ugh, stupid. Okay, thank you. Thanks for letting me know. Awesome. See, I could have been a bloody thousandaire by now, and I wouldn't have known because people couldn't leave a donation. How silly. How silly of me. No, it's fine. All right. Thank you. Okay, just fixing that bit up. That's working. That's getting us in there. That's really cool. I like that actually. And I'll just a little bit of darkness there. Okay, so here we go. Going to put a couple of little street lights in. I'm just sort of using the house's proportional markers. Something there. It's a bit too strong, but that's okay. That works. A couple of whiz bins, wheelie bins. There we go. That's cool. Bit of a fence post. That's fine. That just gives us something to connect this section. Cool. And think so Joe, when you open up the description, it's just not there in the actual description that you see. It's not on like the preview or anything. I'm forever trying to work this shit out. Okay. Just a couple of highlights. Not much in the way of highlights in this. Not much at all. Just for you, Diana. A little red tail lights, there you go. And actually, I should have just left that red on there. And so we can check out there. And there's a couple of birds, so we may as well put them in. Don't know, I'm just playing now. Just giving it that street feel. There's probably things in this image that, because it's a screenshot, it's not a sharp image, so there's probably things we're missing. That's cool. I reckon it's not too bad for a demo. It took a while, this one actually. It was longer than my normal stuff, but it's good for a demo because it's a subject that there's a lot of little tricks and nuances that we can play with. What do you reckon? What do you reckon of that one? Oh, there we go. I don't get rid of that. Let's bring that in. All right. Excellent. Oh, that's good. Yeah, cool. I'm happy with the way it looks actually. It's a nice little piece. It's a nice little scene to paint, and that, see how important not only the verticals but the horizontal lines. Just look in the puddle and just check out the like just where I painted with a bit of water, a couple of those horizontal lines, and how it really makes it a reflection. And of course, leaving those white bits. Yeah, I kind of like it. I dig it too. It's a good one. What I want to do is, do you want to? Because what time is 11:30? I mean, we're getting toward a lunch shift type thing. But how about instead of making lunch and taking half an hour or 40 minutes, whatever, how about you guys are right with just like a 10-minute break and grab a coffee and whatever and drink a water, and we'll be back here and we'll get stuck into the other one. What do you reckon? Does it sound good to you? It does to me, so I need a coffee for sure. And we need to get stuck in while we're on a roll. Otherwise you'll start flagging. You'll start, things will start falling off. Your brain won't work. Oh, no worries, Michael. If you stick around for 10 minutes or come back in 10 minutes, I won't cut the feed off. Just stay logged in and watching if you want. And in 10 minutes time, I'll be back and we'll get stuck into the other scene. So let's put that timer on. Oh, so professional. Cheers, see you guys in 10 minutes. Does that work? Yay! Stick that back on. This is a funky bloody shirt I've got, isn't it? It's a funky shirt. So, I'm just going to sit and talk about this painting for a second. How is all going again? Got myself a coffee. Oh, that's better. Now, have a look. I'll show you something. I'll just grab my phone. Check this photo out. Now, let me just plug it in. And it should come up. You should be able to see the phone up here as a camera in a second, or the screen. There it is. Firstly, how adorable is my little gal this morning for good old book week. But anyway, we digress. Check this out. I did this coffee this morning and completely accidentally did a little birdie thing with a bit of wingy thing, and it looks pretty cool. Didn't even mean that. So you can do stuff without meaning it. It's cool. Anywho, we don't need to say that. Oh, look at Henry, that must have been a year ago. Poor bugger. Anyway, back to it. How's it going? Did you have a coffee? Are you eating something? What's going on? I like it. I'm looking forward to taking a picture of that in proper light when it settles down a bit. Now, I'm going to now get another piece of paper cracking, and it'll be right. You gotta take care of your pet. Look at that. Bit of paper. Bit of bone pepper. Now, I'm taping it down, as usual, obviously. But it's a very, very tricky thing to do. It's not really, I'm just being silly. Starting to get sick. My throat's gone all very dodgy in the last couple of hours. Well, since I woke up, really. A bit dicey. Might be our turn. Might be the first new COVID case in Tassie for ages. I shouldn't joke. Shouldn't joke about that. Alright. So yeah, coffee is upon us. Does anybody else out there use Escoda brushes, Escoda perlers? No, it wouldn't be popular at the moment, Dana, seeing we've got no cases. But don't know where I would have got it from. Hopefully. Alright, so Escoda perlers. They're quite nice. Use them, they're pointy. The best pointy brushes, synthetic brushes in the world. I use a size 12 and a size 8. 12 mainly. Okay, let's have a look at this picture we're going to paint. Boop, there it is. Okay, so we're going to edit this so it will fit on our normal format paper, but editing it will be done quite simply. We want a big shape. We don't want all kinds of detail or anything. There are a few things that I want to take care of and make sure they're there. Obviously the reflections, that's what we're here for, but let's talk about the guts of the picture. I want to take care of that bright light on that footpath on the right hand side. Want to make sure that's there. The buildings and things are just going to be a shape. I'm going to push them back a little bit though. When I say that, I just mean tonally. We're just going to push them back a little, make them a little darker, a little lighter, I'm sorry, so that the strength and the bit more detail of the boats in front actually take on the right composition characteristics. You know, they come forward and you've got the sharper, and a little bit softer and a bit mellower in the middle distance. A long-winded way of saying it's going to be darker. Middle ground, treat it as a big shape, one big shape. Don't worry about buildings and windows and, you know, little fancy bits. Don't worry about that shit. You just got to paint real simple, and you'll be right. And it's just one big shape. That's all. This scene is a classic combination of, well, it's three shapes all up. We've got sky, the water, and the middle ground. That's it. That's all there is there. Nothing more, nothing less. It's just that. You got to think about it in those terms. And yeah, it's good. It'll be a good one. Let me set up the camera. Here we go. We don't want to keep that there because that'd just be a bit silly, wouldn't it? So we can make it a bit smaller and leave it about there. That'll work. About there. That'll work then, won't it? Yeah. All right, so I just want to move the camera down a little bit. There, that'll get us all in then. Good. Look at that. It's just like a professional did it. How's the lighting and the quality of the audio and the screen on your side, everybody? Yes, I very much need to go in and fix this PayPal link, because that's just silly, isn't it? I don't want that without. It's good. That is good. I need to. I just don't know if I can edit this while it's live, that's all. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, so far I think. Okay, so if you go back into, if you close out and go back into the feed and have a look at the description, it now should say Tony White Watercolour instead of the no R. So thank you. Okay, we are getting stuck in. Now I just need to find the image, and we'll be laughing. Where is it? Up here somewhere. It is. Okay, cool. Good. There we go. Look at that. What's happened there then? I've just pushed it out of focus, have I? There we go. Fixed up now. Excellent. Awesome. Obviously, we've got the same palette. I ain't changing palettes. I never do. For different paintings, just use different colours. Here we go. So, draw this baby up. So, we want to have a bit of room for these reflections. So, I'm going to kind of put the horizon fairly high up. and just start blocking in main boats. Just check the angles of the where the boats are sitting on the water. About there. And just done really lightly. About there. You just want it to speak boat. You don't have to, it's not a big fancy rendering or anything. But I want 2 in the guts, so that's good. And this one in the middle, the one that's sort of hidden, I'm just gonna, you know, indicate that. I don't want to do much to that at all. Yeah, this little dock bit over here, going to make something of that, but it's going to be very, very loose. Nothing there. Oop. Okay. So I want to roughly get the placement of these windows right. There's a couple on the side. G'day James, how you going, mate? Hope you're well. Thank you very much for the support, man, and the painting of the purchasing of that painting. Oh shit! Sorry. Hang on. We're about to blow out. Stay there. Stay there. What the hell's going on here? Sorry about this. Don't you love it? Why did that autofocus turn back on? I've got no idea. But and then my iPad collapsed. It's all happening. All happening, mate. It's all happening. Good. So autofocus shouldn't be an issue now. Let's just make sure. Oh yeah, focus. Good. Cool. That's good. Sharp as a tack. Excellent. All right, back to it. We're just getting this little bits organised. Just the boats being the sort of stars of the show. We want to make sure they're roughly right. It's going to go around there. And they are one of those things that the only way you get better at it is who can guess? Who can guess the only way you get better at drawing / painting boats? It's a 64 million gazillion dollar question. How do you get better at painting boats? Practice. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, exactly right, Dana. That's the only way. It's the only way you're going to get better at it. Yeah, I'm being careful not to pencil these in too strongly. And remember, I'm just looking at that shape. Look at the outline of things. That's all. That's all I'm after. Be a crane or something there. And there's that little dock thing, but there's some trees and some softness. All right. Yeah, what a shock. Practice makes you better at stuff. There are no secrets, unfortunately. That's all we want our boats to do at the moment. Okay, cool. Just giving this a little bit of a spritz. And let's get stuck in. So the first wash. All right, the first wash plays a really, really big role. Well, it does most of the time, but in these sort of scenes, it really does, because you want the first wash to be really prominent coming through when we put the reflections over the top of it. So it's kind of like a two-pronged approach, really. It's the underneath wash plus the reflections, and if it needs it at the end, maybe a little bit of a glaze here and there. But yeah, this first wash is imperative. I'm going to do the usual kind of thing of big blue sky with some lightness. I might put a bit of warmth around the guts and coming down into the water, just to make that make it a little bit more interesting afterwards. But should be cool. So I'm just wetting this down a little bit, just to make this first part of the smooth blue wash really, really nice. Now it's got manganese blue there, if anyone's interested. It will granulate. It should. I like that. But I do like just cutting it a bit with a bit of ultramarine as well, which will also granulate. So once you get that sort of thing in there, now we can sort of start just going down with a bit of water and bringing things down. So it's a nice, you've seen me do this a million times, and especially on the little wet in wet tutorial video I did not long ago. Check it out if you haven't already. Now I do want to go stronger up top. It's weakened off quite a lot up here. I might cobalt it up a bit too. Just muck around with it until you're happy. You just got to do it quickly, because it doesn't work if you let it go too long. You'll stuff the whole thing up. So I want to try and keep lots of little white bits around the tops of the boats and things. That's all fine. I don't care about the rest of it, as long as there's a few little white bits there. I don't even need to warm that up, I don't think. I'm tempted to, because you run the risk of greening it up too much then if you go over the top there. But that's all right, that's cool. It just needed a little bit in that sky area. It's okay, in that way we can come down here really lightly. Keep this wash quite light. And cut around the boats. And the only thing I'm taking care of here is that white patch there. I really want that footpath dock area to sing on its own later on, solo. Now, here is where our wash becomes very important. Have it nice and smooth. Let's go nice smooth wash first, because we want a nice gradation there from the warmth into the cool. And you will get a little bit of greeniness going on, but that's okay. It's not too bad. Now, let's turquoise it up a little bit. Just muck around here. Just want a nice smooth wash, that's all. Different colours, nice and pretty. Bit more turkey. See how the brush strokes, it's very deliberately long. Yeah, I'm not, just dibby dobby dat, little dots and stuff. It's that's the way to get those nice smooth brush strokes in there, nice smooth gradations. Now I'm just going a bit stronger as we get closer to us. It's a tonal perspective as well. We'll take care of all of these little bits that end up just being second nature, and that only comes about by, you guessed it, practice. Practice, practice, practice. A bit people. All right. So pretty smooth wash. Oh, a little bit of white there. That's good. Leave it. What we have to do, so we kind of have to let it sit for a second, because we're going to put a few little underneath ripples in there, but we don't want to do it now because it's too wet. So, but we don't want to dry it off with the hairdryer because it'll end up being too dry, and the paint just won't disperse enough after we do that. So while it's too wet, it'll just disperse too much, kind of making it pointless. So you kind of got to time it a bit. And this paper, this Baohong paper, does take a while to dry, so I will just hit it with the hairdryer really lightly in a second. Oh, excuse me. Let's give me a drink of water. But I think it's all pretty cool. And this is where you can kind of take care of little things. But see, I'm always looking for things like the smoothness here, yes, but just making sure that there's enough of that warmth shining through above where the building line will be, and there is. So pretty happy there. So I can dry all that off, and then hit this a little bit, and then I'll show you these ripples. Anyone got any questions? You can ask me cooking questions too. I was a chef back in the day, and I cook every day at home. I love it. So you can, if you've got any cooking questions, I'll probably know the answer. So just really lightly down the bottom there. That's about it. Okay, so yeah, it's still damp enough. That's good. Oogie doogie. So pointy brush again. Now I want to go sort of a dirty purpley kind of colour. Yeah, that kind of thing is good. Now let's see. Yeah, it's good. A few little bigger brush strokes. There's a few. This is just little ripples that'll give us a bit more depth, and just a bit more interest as it dries up. Purple, bit of blue, bit of neutral, more blue. And we just put a few little random squiggles. Just make sure they get smaller as they go up, of course, but you got to work on perspective here as well. But don't do them all the way, and don't do too much of it. That'll be about it. Now you'll see in a second that when I dry this off properly, this will all dissipate to bugger all. It'll just be some stuff in the background. Oh, shit, brick. Now I've got to dry this off completely because I'm just going to start working background to foreground, and I don't want to taint this foreground at all while I work on the back stuff. Bit more. All right. So, the background. Let me get good old flat brush. Don't use them that much, but when I do, it's usually with things like this, the buildings and whatnot. When you just want that sort of square shape, and there's a trick to it though. You don't want all those little boxes. You've got to still be painterly about it and think artistically along the way. So we want a nice cool color here. Let's go some cobalt. Cool grey, a bit of Bordeaux, so it's a purpley. A little bit of that French ochre, why not? A little bit of neutral. And you know what? Even a tiny bit of lavender. It's good. Burnt sienna, just marble it. It's not quite green. I don't even want green buildings. Let's just check it. Yeah. Just to be a bit cooler. That's the best way to check it on your paper. There you go. So when you marble the paint like this, so you can see there, it's not all mixed. There's bits of stuff sitting. You marble it like that, you're giving it a chance to do some of the work for you. You get interesting patterns and colouring without having to work at it too much. I'll leave that there. That's a little bit of signage. That's fine. This building's fairly distinctive. This, what's it called? Grand Chancellor Hotel. But we just want nice flat shapes. We're not worried about anything dramatic. And see, get some dry brush marks in there as well. Why not? That's good. Remember, you got to use your brush. Use your imagination with your brush and use it to your advantage, If it can do this stuff for you without, you having to put too much effort in, it's good. It's only a good thing, Let's go over there. I think there's a little construction site or something over that way, so we'll do a crane. There it is. And you see how it's just, I'm just feeling my way through it and careful not to get rid of everything, especially this white stuff. It's very important. And no one's going to come and tell you your buildings are in the wrong spot or whatever. If they do, tell them they need to get some kind of life. All right, there we go. Don't make it too complex. It is fun doing these sort of buildings like this in this way. So don't get carried away too much. But what I need to do now that that main stuff is in, I'm just going to go in with a little bit of thicker stuff at the base. Similar colouring, a bit of purple in there, and it just gives us a bit of an illusion of that darkness toward the base of the buildings. That shouldn't be that strong all the way across. There are trees and things as well, which we'll put in. Look, you're going to do things like grab just straight out colours and put a few little marks in, whatever. It's just to add interest, because remember, this at the end of the day, this is about the boats and obviously the reflections. So these little incidental bits will become incidental. But so because they're the first thing we paint, usually we put too much focus on them and we work them to death, and yeah, you don't need to. But just let that dry, all good. I'd like to start with the hulls of the boats. Quite blue on this one. I'm going to do it blue, I think. But it's going to be quite transparent, because look, they're dodgy old fishing boats. They might look pretty, but when you get up close, they're a bit dodgy. So I don't want to have anything real pretty, that's for sure. So I'm just going to colour in this one from that side, and we should be right. So light blue and a bit stronger blue. That light blue, it's obviously a white boat, but we get to play with that temperature a bit there. So that's in, and we can start just putting little bits in, why not? And that bit's quite dark. That's okay. And we're going to go across there. There's a bit of a thing. Now there's no, obviously there's no shape to this yet, but it will get there. Right, so I'll let that sit for a second. They're fine just to sit and do whatever. There's a little bit of a greenish tinged boat in there, but we'll just put little indications of it. It'll all make sense, trust me. Okay, so these darks where the docks sit on the water, really important. They've got to be quite strong. If they're not, because if you squint your eyes and look at the reference photo, squint your eyes, the darkest bits are those bits underneath the docks. So you have to push them. And got to be quite thick, the paint, I think. Yeah, there somewhere. Careful not to let it touch too much, because it'll bleed more than I want it to at the moment. This bit over here. That's just going to sit there for me for a second. See how that darkness there already sort of starts making other things pop out and do their job. It's good. I like it. So I'm going to do a bit of this softer reflection here. Just a little bit. And it's just to give it an indication of a reflection, that's all. Just really light. Same over here. Because it's distant, I mean, this will be quite dark anyway at the end, this part of the painting, but if we can get it started, that's always good. That's just all indications, you know, all impressionism. It's our brushwork and our imaginations and our artistic vision coming into the fore. Right, so all cool, happy with that. That's all fine. What we can do is just feather that a little bit because, you know, we're not going to see it anyway. Just smooth it out in case it bites us in the ass. What I'll do, just while it's wet, I've got a bit of neutral tint just straight up, Paula Abdul style. A little bit in there. There's a few little verticals that way. That's fine. Cool. Now, I'm going to up the reflection game in just a second, but I want to make sure that the boats are right first, because there's no point painting the reflection first unless it's a distant thing or whatever. That's fine, but because these boats are, you know, they're pretty essential to the scene, we'll paint them first and we'll do the reflections off of that. So Adele, everybody, please give her a warm hand on her entrance. I've got a million old vaudeville jokes. Don't you worry. Rocket, look at that. Okay, so I'm going to start just the holes. I just want to make sure the holes are okay first, and then we'll put some little tiny bits of detail in. Okay, so here we go. Shadow, quite cool. Oop, just went into the neutral tint. Oopsie daisy. That's okay. Water it down. All right. That'd be better. Right, so if you have a look, the reference, this whole front side of this is in shadow. That's cool. And it's cool, literally. That's what we're doing there. And we'll start getting those reflections in. And we'll just cool that down a bit over there as well. And get that down. And we'll just put little, you know, I like these little impressionistic kind of marks that we make that just gives us the gives us an indication that there's stuff happening. We're not spelling everything out all the time. And I don't mind, you know, things being broken, all of those sort of little broken edges. You know, that's not coloured in perfectly. It's not stopped perfectly at where that stops. It's all those little things we've got to really keep on top of when we paint. So we want to paint things that are interesting. If you don't want to paint things, if you don't want to do interesting work, I mean, go and colour in or something. You know, that's fine. Do it. If that's what you want to do, go nuts. But if you want interesting paintings and you want to get better at artwork as opposed to decoration, then you've got to let your artwork sing a bit, be a bit more adventurous. A bit of shadow. It's about as philosophical as I'm going to get today. Yeah, that's okay. There's not a great deal of coolness there, but that's all right. Okay, cool. Happy with that. Now, sticker stuff here that I've got left over. Just going to test it. Go. So, a couple of windows or whatever there. Shadow. That's cool. It's impressionism. There's no, I'm not painting anything definitive over here. Definitely not. It's all just telling a story with a couple of brush strokes. That's all we want. Life is far too short to get bogged down in unnecessary shite. Green. Oh, it's quite strong. Bit of green over there. It's unusual. I don't care to make it green as such, but I want a nice little shape so it speaks tree. What's tree language sound like? It's all right. Yeah, mate, absolutely. You got it spot on. Lavender, burnt sienna, everything just marbled rather than mixing the whole thing. That's for sure. Okay, I'll get to that in a second. See, I'm looking here and I'm sort of visualizing things. I know at the end, when we put the reflections in, it's going to be quite dark here, so that will bring that boat out. And, you know, got to keep your eye on the end result, you know, visualizing that as we go through. That is for sure. This will looks a bit funny. It won't in a second once the reflections go. So the only way you know those things is by doing and repeating and getting to know how your paints work. Yeah. There's just a little bit of stuff. I don't know what that is, but whatever. It's just little marks. There's a little boat there. Now, just some neutral tint straight out of the palette. Just going to do those little windows, and they'll bleed a little bit, which is good. They'll soften up. About there. That'll bleed in there. Nice. Nice. Nice and nice. Okay. Now I need to put these masts in because I need to know where they're reflecting. So, look, excuse me, there's a danger here if you're using white paint or you're masking out. You can mask out, no probs, but life's short, you know, like I always say. I'm just not going to paint white masts. They're just going to be, you know, I might do lavender or a bit of black or something, you know. And that's it. Just whack them in wherever they're going to go. And see, if I went straight up there, I'll get into that, what do you call it? The crane. So I'm just going to keep it about there somewhere. And there is good. Here we go, some nice softness. Different properties, you know. And we can go in and put a bit of dark on it, you know, if you want to make it stronger. Just grab a bit of dark stuff and let it go. Don't sing it, dare you. What I wouldn't mind doing is just whacking another thing about there. Because I can, it's my picture, I can sort of do what I want. Don't ever feel you have to, you know, compromise. But it's all looking okay. It's a bit, bit stiff, but it's one of these things that because they're boats, they'll look a bit clean until you start messing them up and putting in some stuff at the very end, which we'll do soon. But now I've got the masts in, I can actually go in and work out some reflections. And I'm going to do that with Flatty. Excuse me. It's not sounding too good, this whole thing. Color-wise, for your reflection, your overarching sort of color, there are many colors in a reflection, usually. This is no exception. But we want... turquoise is a really nice color in reflections. Don't always feel that you have to reflect exactly what the color of the object is, because it's never usually like that anyway. But I'm just getting a color that I'm happy with. It's gone a bit green. Subdue that a bit. There we go. A bit more turquoise in there. And you want it to be probably milky consistency like before. And you give it a crack. Here we go. Dry paper. So let's just go, we're going to reflect off there a little bit. It'll need to be stronger, I can see already, which is fine. Bit more neutral in there. I think the tone of the colour temperature of it's quite good. I like that. It's good. Now, same principles. Even though I'm using a flat brush, I'm still adhering to the same rules as we went over this morning, which is those horizontal and verticals. And the verticals will come in a second. But the horizontals especially are very important, and will do a lot of the work for us here. just going to bring them across. I'm not too worried about the reflections sort of following the angle of these reflections that are in the image. But flat brushes, they can be quite nice. And I'll start just putting a few over here too, just to balance that out and make sure that's working. And it is, so that's good. Happy there. All right, so I'll give the flat brush a rest for now. But what I will do, I'll start getting some water in there. So we can start just lifting a little bit here and there. It's always good. A couple little vertical strokes is good. And now what I will do is I have the, excuse me, I'm sorry, I have the intention of glazing this soon, but I need to get just a bit more colour and life into these shadows before I start putting some glazing and stuff going on. Break that up, it's too sharp. And we mustn't forget to reflect the good old masts. That would be not very good. And that's all it needs. It doesn't need any more work than that. So don't get bogged down in thinking that you have to do all these masts and things like details. You don't have to. Now, time to sit the boats on the water better than they are at the moment. So we need to curve this around because it's all gotten very flat. It looks a bit unnatural. So with thick paint, thick neutral tint, we're going to curve that, make it curve around. And even make sure that we get that kind of thing. And this one will do the same. It's just got to sit flat though. And in there's another boat. And there are those horizontal water lines again that I really like. It's going to be and that's just a bit of dirt or whatever, you know. Oh, Henry. Okay. All right. So just checking it out. It's all looking cool. A couple of these little dark areas are lightening up a bit too much. Out there. It's all a bit neat and tidy. Just have to splasheroo it all a bit. It's getting there. It's quite a nice reflection. I like the colouring, but I want a little bit pretty up a tiny bit with a little bit of turquoise just here and there, and a bit of that blue over that way. There we go. So you see there's softness in there, but the overarching effect is a nice sharp reflection. Now I'm going to dry this off and then put some details and then glaze, and should be right. All right, so it's drying off okay. It's nice and subtle. Needs some good bits of dry brush work now. Bit of burnt sienna. I kind of want to establish the base of this boat a bit better. It's or the shape of it really. Sort of lost it a little bit. It's okay though. We'll get it. Yep. Cool. Bit of dry brush. Call it something. I don't know. See, the things that are working are this shadowing, the reflections are working nicely, work even better once we glaze it. And there's a couple of things I just want to muck around with. And one of those is just sort of break up some of the clean lines, soften some edges up a little bit. It's just all a bit neat. Yeah, cool. It's good. I like that. This paper really does lift out very well. Couple of horizontals. Some horizontal dancing. No one can do any vertical dancing at the moment. It's off the cards. And I'm just going through, it's starting to come to life. I like it. Get a red, let's get some red in there. Let's put something on a boat. And a reflection of that something just there. Slowly but surely, we're almost there. Okay, time for some highlights. Actually, no, I'll do the reflections first and the last bit of shadows first. Otherwise, we'll end up with a chalky, horrible mess. All right, it's got to dry it off though. Again, Adele, here she is. Does this hairdryer sound really annoying as you're watching it back? In the edited videos that I do, I cut it out because I hate it. The necessary evil. That'll do. Here we go. And let's do some glazing, baby. Turquoise, bit of dirt, bit of purple. Dirty purple is good. When you're glazing like this, you have to be very direct and put your brush mark on and leave it, because if you go back and work it, you'll end up scrubbing the stuff off that's underneath, and you don't want that. So you just get it in there and let it sit. So it's pretty subtle, this one so far, but there you go. That's a bit better. It's stronger. That's lovely. Isn't that pretty? Turquoise. Lovely day in Hobart, this one. All right. Happy with the glazing, but I'm not happy with just the tone here. It needs to be stronger. The only way to do it is to paint it. Paint it stronger. Just need to be that little bit stronger on that edge. And just feather it out, you'll be right. Don't worry about this. Like when you're painting, you're just painting. It's not that big a deal. So if you want to attack it, go for it. Just do it. All right, I'm going to dry it off and then I'll put highlights and we'll be rocking. time is it? Oh, 1 o'clock. That's all right. Good. Done in time for lunch. Lovely. All right, should be right to do highlights now. I've actually got, for highlights today, I've got some titanium white watercolor. So it'll be a bit opaque and not as chalky as gouache, but use gouache, who cares? All right, straight out of the tube, a few little bits. Now, the trick is to make it look like you haven't done it, and I think a good way for that is by being quite subtle about it, really, and not drawing too much attention to it. But don't worry about doing it. You gotta do what you can do to get your results, you know. That was a happy little accident there, wasn't it? Thanks, Bob. Okay. Yep, cool. And this will go out there. Reflect down. Don't think there's much else to do. I don't know where these ropes are going, but I'll do some ropes. Now Lewis. Whenever you do these sort of highlights and bits and pieces, just make sure you do them really directly. Don't overwork it. Don't draw too much attention to it, because they can bite you on the ass real quick. Some of you may enjoy being bitten on the ass, but when it's with paint, it's not that much fun. Okay, there is something critical that I've neglected. If any of you have ever been to Constitution Dock, now it's riddled with seagulls because it's a fishing dock. Awesome, Meg. No worries. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. Now, let's have a look. Unfettered by masking tape. Get rid of that. Right. Now, any of my demos that you see on these videos are always for sale as well. And they always go for a bargain, like $110 including postage, unframed. They're all quarter sheets when I do these demos. So if you would like it, first in, best dress, let me know. Oh, there we go. There's the. Did you see this before? Yeah, James, I got a green screen, mate, and I am painting in front of my paintings, talking in front of my painting. It's craziness. But anyway, let's do this. Let's see if we can do this. Get that going. Get that going. No. Nope, no, that doesn't work. Yeah, I think that's right, and it's one of those things you've always got to you always have to keep um, you always have to keep the your eye on the prize. Um, because what happens is that if you lose where you're at and if you lose your vision for where it's going, then you get bogged down on things. So you look at it and you go, oh shit, that color's not working properly, or this or that. But you've got to remember that you're going to do this stuff over the top, and and then it becomes, it takes on a life of its own, so it's good. But yeah, absolutely right, Dana, and they're definitely more interesting now. But yeah, it's a good little demo, and I hope the reflections, and there's a couple of different little ways of treating reflections, can give you a bit of help. I'll see if I can get this picture in there as well. There we go. A couple of different ways to treat some reflections. So there's one thing I'm looking, now that I'm looking at the one we did this morning, there's one thing I would do to it, and I probably will do to it, is the shadows on the tree, or coming from the tree, the soft shadows on the road, they're all fine, but tonally, just here in the front, just here, it's a bit too light, and so what's happening is it's competing there. So if you have a look at the puddle now compared to the shadow on the left, it's working, right? So it sees it. You can see it and look at it now. It just doesn't work as much just because this is not strong enough. So I'll probably glaze it. Meg, is that to the boats? You're into that one? If so, no problem. It is yours. Thank you very much. But yeah, I probably will muck around with this one a bit just to get that tonally. But it still works. But then again, I like the softness of the shadows, and I don't want to lose that. I don't know. We'll see how we go. But no, thank you everybody for sticking around. Does anybody have any questions about what we've done today, and possibly has anyone got any suggestions of things you would like me to demonstrate in a oh. I'll have a look and see who got in first. I'll just have a look at that and see timestamp. Sorry about this. Who got in first for that boats demo? Won't be a second. I apologise. So here's what you want to start. You want to start a war. Okay. Okay. Oh, Meg. Melanie got in first, unfortunately. Bloody hell. Have a squeeze around. If you see any other demos, so Melanie, the boats, even though you wrote it up here after Meg, the email was sent first. I'm so sorry, Meg. But no, if you can, yeah, just fine. But Meg, if you do see something else that you're after, absolutely let me know. Sorry about that. No shit. And yeah, I will reply to your questions in that email as well, Melanie. That's great. Thank you. But no, I really appreciate everybody's input and curiosity for today. It's been a good thing. So I really appreciate it. Let's have a look. Let's just have some fun with this green screen for a second. There we go. I'm in a different office now. Yeah, I know, and I think Melanie's came through at 12:58 or something, and I think her email came through with like maybe even before I'd suggested the sale of it. So I'm sorry, Meg. Oh shit. Let's have a look and see what else we can put here. Oh, there's an old car. Let's have a look. Palm trees, isn't that clever? What absolute professionalism from me. Look at that. That's insane. No, seriously. Thank you very much, everybody, for having a wander. Bidding war. Oh, geez. That's good, I guess, but I don't want to cause any problems. Well, we'll go back to that. No, thank you very much, everybody, for your help and your participation and your support. I believe I fixed the PayPal link there, so if anybody is interested in making a donation, I'll be more than grateful. Thank you, but no stress, no hassle at all. If you cannot do it, no probs. If you can, make sure you've subscribed to my channel, like my channel, share these videos around, watch them as much as you can. I'm trying to get the watch hours up to 4,000, and I'm about 3,300 something at the moment. So I need to get that 4,000 mark so I can monetize this channel. I would love your support and appreciate it very, very much. Yeah, Meg, that sucks. Sorry about that. I just have to do it that way. Otherwise, it's just not fair. It's the only fair way to do it. Shit. Oh, damn it. But no, I really appreciate the support. If there's anything else, if you see me post anything up, is anything from a demo that you see that you would like, absolutely let me know and I'll do your deal. If you have a look through and if there's something available, I'll look after you for sure. Thank you very much, everybody, and peace out. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.